Whether a spur-of-the-moment decision or meticulously planned in advance, many criminals seem oblivious to the fact that in the 21st century, cameras are everywhere. From the obvious wall and post-mounted city centre affairs to automatic number plate recognition or ANPR cameras, to the more innocuous, discreet, but more and more frequently found mounted ring cameras. Other makes are available. The ubiquitousness of surveillance cameras is making it more difficult for criminals to stay completely off the screen for the entirety of their crimes. In today's case, in a trailer park laundry room, cameras ensured that what could have been an accident or otherwise unexplained death unraveled very quickly to reveal the murder that may otherwise have gone unsolved. This is the devastating death of devoted wife and mother Deborah DePinto, and this is Murder of Crows. Boulder, Colorado is the county seat of Boulder County in Colorado. Some 25 miles from the more well-known city and Colorado's state capital of Denver, Boulder is found in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. As well as being home to a shade over 100,000 people, it is also home to some breathtaking vistas. The Boulder Valley actually has real history, with archaeological evidence showing that Native Americans have been present in the valley for at least 13,000 years. And prior to the 1800s, at least 9 different indigenous nations have ties to the valley, including the Apache, the Sioux, and the Comanche. In a more unpleasant aspect of its history, much of the formation of the original town of Boulder is the result of prospectors, taking the piss during the Colorado Gold Rush. Boulder was founded in late 1858 when prospectors led by Thomas Akins arrived at Boulder Canyon during the Colorado Gold Rush. Arapaho leader Nuot allowed them to stay for the winter, but the settlers abused this peaceful approach, and going further, some of them later even took part in the Sand Creek Massacre of Arapaho. In early 1859, gold was discovered along Boulder Creek, drawing more miners and merchants to the area. The Boulder City Town Company, make up your mind, city or town, was formed in February 1859 to establish a settlement at the canyon mouth. Growing from a population of about 350 people in 1870 to, as I said, over 100,000 in 2020. The University of Colorado Boulder is the biggest employer in the city, and it has a reputation for music festivals as well as a wide range of centers of scientific excellence. A number of notable people have links to the city, including Allen Ginsberg, musicians like Jello Biafra of the Dead Kennedys, and Justine Frischmann of Britpop indie legends Elastica, and perhaps most significantly for us as true crime obsessives, it was also home to John Benet Ramsey. For our story today, it was also home to married couple Scott Jones and Deborah DePinto, who lived in a trailer park in the city. By 2018, the couple had been married for over 20 years, and they had 2 children together. She was 44 and worked as a chef at the University of Colorado. To all appearances, they were a perfectly normal family, just muddling through life. But to those who knew them, the cracks in their relationship were all too obvious. So when she befell what appeared on the surface as a tragic accident, it didn't take long for that particular picture to change. On the 18th of June of 2018, first responders raced to the Ponderosa Mobile Home Park, where they found Deborah unresponsive in the laundry room of the trailer park.
What do you know right now?
That she fell in there and sounded like something to her neck. Yeah, he was.
She had a what to her neck?
He said that she did like this to her neck, like when she fell. When she fell in the laundry room, and then he started doing CPR on her.
Despite their best efforts, she was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. Her husband Scott was on the scene when first responders arrived, and he explained that Deborah had apparently fallen and lost consciousness in a tragic accident. But just a little digging led investigators to finding out that their relationship was far from idyllic.
She's my whole life. She's my whole life.
She needs you to be, she can hear you right now, okay? So she needs you to be strong for her, all right? So take a deep breath, okay? The best people that can possibly be working on her, okay? Does she take any opiates or heroin?
I don't know.
You don't know? Is there a possibility? Has she ever used them?
Always hear about it. Smokes that damn pipe where they heat up the end and they stick it in that stuff.
What was going on today?
They were just kind of like arguing a little bit.
What were they arguing about?
I don't know.
Okay. Do they normally argue? So they're arguing outside, but do you know what it was about? Was it real serious or just like a normal argument?
Kind of sounded serious.
Okay. Can you walk me through today, like how you got to this point and then we got called? So where did you wake up today at?
House.
Okay.
And we drove down here.
This gentleman that was just standing here, you all live at that house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he dropped us off here and then went to work.
Okay. And so she went to work?
And then after a few hours she came back here.
Which was about what time?
I think around maybe 4 or 5.
4 to 5 p.m.?
Yeah.
Okay. And then?
Then they were arguing and I went to the car.
He was a stay-at-home.
But they have kids?
They had,
that's right.
they had
Yeah,
two
they did.
kids, and
Yeah.
it was kind of a pain in the neck. He was nothing to do but come down and kind of bother us all the time. He was a very hard-working, good girl who got taken advantage of a lot. I guess she, like I said, she really put out to him and his expectations of the relationship.
Which were very strange.
She worked 2 jobs while he didn't work any, and
He came in like screaming, and he was saying that he thought he was dead. So he brought me into the room, and she was just purple and cold.
Any discussions about your relationship, how things are going?
No. I love my wife and she loves me, man. And I have no idea how that went down like that today, dude.
Okay.
When she fell, yeah, she was face down, she fell. Just I'm tired. I want to get my kids home. And I've answered a lot of questions. I've been very cooperative.
That,
No way, man. No way.
I mean, I know accidents happen. If you're arguing, did something happen that went too far? Did she have a heart attack and die?
No, man.
As the investigation unfolded, a pattern of troubling behaviour came to light. Friends and neighbours spoke of Scott's possessive and controlling tendencies, and they recounted months of escalating tension between the couple. Arguments, including some loud enough to be heard by other people, were not uncommon between the couple. In the weeks leading up to her death, Deborah confided in a friend that she felt trapped, that she was walking on eggshells at home. And these revelations painted a picture of a woman trying to hold everything together while living in fear of the man that she once loved. But perhaps the most explosive discovery in the investigation came from the trailer park office where the laundry room was located. Surveillance footage from the trailer park office revealed a heated argument between Deborah and Scott just before she was found unresponsive. The footage indicated the tension between them erupting into physical confrontation.
I thought there was some common sense with you.
Well, I thought you knew that you don't remember being there. What are you doing over there? I'm getting one. Get out of here, this common sense. We're fighting for an hour over nothing. Lane, I'm done. We are never going to be together.
You're so cruel. That's all you got, cruel and mean.
You're in my way.
Here. Put it in.
We're getting out of there. I love you. No, whatever. Get away from me.
Deal with me.
Oh, don't touch me. Stop. You can't force me to love you anymore. Get out of the way of the door. I'm trapped. Get away from me. You make me feel terrible. Get away from the door.
When pathologists ruled Deborah's death a homicide with asphyxiation as the cause, it seems that the cameras may have not just caught an argument, but also a murder. While much of the altercation was just the audio, since they were out of the line of sight of the camera, it was clear that if there had been a murder, there could only be one perpetrator. Perhaps the most devastating aspect of this tragedy was, as you might expect, the impact on the couple's 2 children. And wait till you hear what he did. Anyway, they were present on the day of their mother's death and were witnesses to arguments that seemed to be spiraling out of control. Their raw and unfiltered accounts were heartbreaking and provided investigators with further insight into what life was like behind closed doors. The weight of their testimony was a stark reminder of how deeply domestic violence scars not just the individuals directly involved, but entire families. The impact of this kind of trauma, even with no ultimate murder, is often a forgotten result of domestic violence, as it always affects more people than just the physical victim. I often talk about ripple effects on this channel, and any situation where children are subjected to trauma can have wide-reaching consequences, including the ability of those children to form relationships themselves in later life. And further still, trauma can even impact on future generations if these traumatized individuals become parents or carers. So the ripple effects widen out. In the aftermath of Deborah's death, Scott was arrested. Forensic evidence and witness statements left little doubt about what had happened. His initial claims of innocence were undermined by the mountain of evidence against him, including the surveillance footage that captured the final moments of Deborah's life. It was a tragic end to a relationship that had survived 2 decades and produced 2 wonderful children. Children who were now suffering the trauma of losing their mother in these circumstances. But not content with all of that, Scott actually used his own son as a prop in trying to create a story where Deborah was just found and the son had to witness his mother's dead body. And of course, Deborah's story is a reminder of how often the warning signs of domestic violence go unnoticed or unaddressed. Scott Jones told detectives that he had nothing to do with his wife's death. But, as we see so many times, when confronted with the audio and video evidence taken inside the office, Jones allegedly changed his story.
That doesn't prove anything, and you know that.
It shows us that something happened in that room. What's going on during that time?
Well, man.
But Scott, you do know. This entire time you're still there with her. What are you doing? Are you looking at her? Are you trying to figure out what to do next?
I don't know. You think I am not kicking out myself? You don't think I feel bad?
Well, I know you are.
Oh man, it wasn't good enough. I'm taking the kids. You ain't taking my kids. Threatening me, with me, man. I mean, with me. Just couldn't stop being a monster. Just couldn't stop being cruel, man. You don't know what she's done to me. You don't know the cruelty she's done, man. I believe it makes a man temporarily insane for a minute, man, when you think about it. You know that? You don't know the troubles. You don't know the pain. You don't know what I've endured. You don't know what that woman put me through. You don't know what she did to my son. You don't know. But I didn't think anything through. I didn't think about anything. I just reacted. I don't know what happened. I just reacted. I don't know, man. It's nuts.
Explaining how everything was going so fast and that he didn't mean to do it. And according to the arrest affidavit, that she died of asphyxiation. And the affidavit goes on to state, Scott repeated those statements over and over. And he said that he just snapped. And he claimed that his wife was cheating on him with different guys and rubbing it in his face. So he just lost it. In his interview with investigators, Jones sounded alternately doting and annoyed with his spouse, with the affidavit stating he continually stated during the interview that she was the one, that she was his snowflake and his soulmate. But Scott was also critical of his wife during the interview. One example being that he was complaining that she did not want to participate in CrossFit with him. Following his comments to authorities, Jones was taken into custody, and he was arraigned on a first-degree murder charge in Boulder District Court. The case eventually came to trial in December of 2019. In opening statements before Boulder District Court Judge Bruce Langer, defense attorneys said the murder was hasty, impulsive and reckless, and therefore should not be considered first-degree murder. But prosecutors called up several friends of DePinto and Jones to bring in statements that they say show how Jones had been thinking about killing his wife in the months leading up to her death. A witness named Mark Rose said that he was talking to Jones in 2017 when the subject of his wife potentially leaving him came up, with Rose testifying he just said it wouldn't happen. He wouldn't let it happen. Rose said that Jones never explicitly stated that he would kill his wife, but said that based on inflection, tone and body language, that is what he inferred, with Rose saying it was clear what he was talking about. Ryan Worley testified that about a week before Deborah's death, he heard Jones say he had friends that owed him favours and could have her taken out. Other friends testified that Deborah had asked them advice on getting half custody of their 2 children if they were to split. One friend named Eric Bukima said that he exchanged a Facebook conversation with Deborah in which she wrote, "I have been trying to find the right time and situation to make it peaceful. He's desperate to hold on. That's what makes him unpredictable." Testimony at the trial also came from forensic pathologist Dr. Daniel Lingamfelter, and he performed the autopsy on Deborah. And Lingamfelter determined that she had died due to homicidal asphyxiation, and more specifically strangulation with a possible smothering element. The pathologist testified that he observed bleeding in the neck muscles and burst blood vessels in Deborah's eyes and lips, caused by blood not being able to flow away from her head due to a restriction of the veins in her neck, consistent with a strangulation. But Lingamfelter said that he noted injuries to Deborah's tongue and the inside of her mouth, which indicated that she may have also been smothered, which is why he didn't rule that the cause of death was strictly strangulation, with him saying, "I couldn't totally eliminate the possibility that an element of smothering occurred." With witness testimonies, the pathologist's report, and extremely incriminating surveillance footage, the evidence against Jones was overwhelming. Ultimately, he was only found guilty of second-degree murder, but he was sentenced to 48 years in prison for the murder of Deborah DePinto, and this was the maximum sentence allowed by the second-degree murder charge that he was convicted of. Boulder District Judge Bruce Langer, who had overseen the 2019 trial, is quoted as saying, "Viewing the totality of the circumstances, the court concludes it is hard to conceive of a more aggravated second-degree murder. It's hard to imagine a case where a maximum sentence is any more justified." Big up yourself, Judge. Jones was also sentenced to 1 year in jail on a child abuse charge for bringing his then 10-year-old son in to see his dead mother, an act which the judge called unfathomable, with the judge also saying, "One of the most appalling things about his crime is Mr. Jones' decision to essentially use his son as a prop. It lends a degree of callousness to what happened here that is just extraordinary." The judge also granted a motion by prosecutors prohibiting Jones from having any contact with the son and daughter that he shared with Deborah DePinto, in order to protect their mental and emotional well-being. And I think the judge was absolutely bang on with that. And that was the case of a cruel and controlling man who had broken his wife down over years of mental, emotional, and physical abuse. We have to wonder how much their children saw. But the fact that this cockwomble was willing to use his son as a safety net and as a prop in his construction of an alibi, and thus in the process subjecting this child to seeing his own mother dead, is staggering to imagine. It's a blessing for those children that this so-called father is prohibited from having any contact with them, so no further damage can be done. Not that the existing damage is not significant enough. Deborah DePinto was a loving mother who did her best to create the best life that she could for her children. She was a cherished friend and family member, and she did not deserve to die in such an appalling manner at the hands of her so-called loving husband. This video is dedicated to her, and I send love to all who knew and loved her. And I can only hope that her children are able to overcome the trauma put upon them by the cockwomble that we have discussed. I send them nothing but love and good wishes. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. Please like, share and subscribe to get the algorithm all twitchy and excited. But with that said, I'm Steve. This here is Samson. And we will see you when we see you.
Say that you're ready, but you won't like it. You say that